Your wife is about to cheat on your lame ass. Nah, I'm just playing. That's just to get your attention. Because today's video is going to help you a lot. Anyways, like, share, subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell for the notifications. Social media is on the screen. Links on the description. And this is a free therapy session, so please share your thoughts and concerns.
I'll tell y'all, being a personal trainer at these luxury gyms, Equinox, Boston Sports Clubs, in Wellesley, Massachusetts. Look up Wellesley, Massachusetts. Like, I would say it's top 2, top 3, like, wealthiest city in Boston. Like, when I was a trainer at these places, especially when I was in college, because that was my first ever quote-unquote occupation that I did, especially while I was in college, there were a lot of interactions that I would have with women, married women specifically, not single women. I did have some single women that I worked with. That's fine. But married women, I would have some interactions with them that would leave me scratching my head. Because, you know, I'm a very moral person, and obviously don't shit where you eat, right? Like, always, that was always my mindset. Never shit where you eat. And also, never touch another man's wife, right? Okay. That's another thing. Consensually, of course. I know some people are going to think, like, I'm saying something crazy. But I would have these crazy experiences where, you know, obviously, I'm a trainer. I'm here to make money. I'm making money. And I'm working with these women. And they start to get really flirtatious. Right?
Okay.
And you start to wonder because you know that they're married because they came with their husbands in that consultation. Their husbands were sitting in that consultation. Their husbands were egging them on to actually be trained by me. And they were all for it. And then once the husband left and they were just me and them in the gym, right? They would start to, you know, say flirtatious things. They say, "Oh, you're so attractive. Like, oh, your muscles. I love how you look. Like, oh my God, like you're so amazing. I wish my husband was like that." And they would start to say things like this in the beginning, right? And I would work with these women for about 3 to 6 months, right? Nothing crazy. But as the weeks went on, the flirtations got more and more and more and more and more, right? To the point where it just got to a point where I'm like, "You're married." Like, I wouldn't tell them this, but in my head, I'm like, "You're married. Like, how could you be this flirtatious? Like, how?"
It's simple. It's a fantasy that they just trying to live. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's the only thing you can look at it as. A lot of women, especially women that he's talking about, I ain't gonna lie. It's the same thing. I'm starting to notice it's the same thing no matter what. No matter what level it is. And you can chalk it up to just like what I be saying about some of these people. Just like the situation with Aisha Curry. Like, high value woman with low value thinking. You can say that about them, but you can't say that for all of them. It's just they're getting bored. Their lifestyle, they done did a lot of stuff. They done lived this way. A lot of times you just can't satisfy the needs of a woman 100% through. You just can't. And this is just one of the scenarios right here. Like, she has a lifestyle where she's rich. She can do whatever she wants per se. But still, not 100% happy. She's probably not happy in bed. She's trying to venture out, trying to be promiscuous in other places, trying to do something spontaneous. And that's why you be having rich women, rich wives, I should say, rich stay-at-home wives. They be getting done in by the gardener, by the whatever, you know what I'm saying? By the personal trainer, by whatever other man that's coming around. You know he ain't got the money that her husband got, but it's a fantasy world. At the end of the day, it's just a fantasy. She's just trying to live out something. She just wants to feel desired, even if it's for the second. And that leads me to a point. Women be the greatest risk takers of all time because they could be married to a billionaire and have everything else in their name and still give it up just to get one night with Ray Ray, Boo Boo, Tyrone, and Pookie, Billy, Todd, and Chad. It never fails. Greatest risk takers of all time for no reason.
Could you be egging me on so much? And it would get to a point, I would say typically around week 8, they would be like, "Hey, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm really attracted to you. Like, I don't really do much when I'm at home. My husband's not there. He's always at work. You can come over," or something like that. Or like, "Hey, let's go do this. Let's go do that." And I would politely say no. I respectfully say no because obviously, you know, I respect their husbands. I respect what they're doing. I respect the hustle that they're doing. But there's one thing I realized because these demographic of women were rich women, right? And these rich women were always left at home by themselves. They were always bored. So they always wanted to talk to a lot of these guys who were in these services industries, right? They would have their own personal masseuse who was a male. They would have their own trainer who was a male. They'd have their own gardener who was a male. They'd have all these male services around them, right? Clearly for a reason. It never was just that, right? It never was just for just like their actual trade work that they did. But as I was talking to them more, I would try to understand what was going on at home, because that would give me a good understanding of why they act the way that they act. Because I do believe that women who feel neglected or who feel like they're just sitting at home and just like their husband is out doing whatever he's doing, again, respectful, because he's going out, he's going on business trips. Who knows what he's doing on these business trips, of course. But like, he's bringing in money, right? She's living this comfortable lifestyle. Why would you talk to a 19-year-old personal trainer who's in college still? Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? So it always hit me in the back of my head, like, what's going on? Like, why are you choosing to talk to me versus the guy who's rich? Don't women like rich guys? Don't they only want money? And when I started to really analyze this, I noticed that the money was kind of like a safety net for them. They want the rich guys because the rich guys have the money that will give them the lifestyle that they want. But the fun comes in with the guy who may not be rich, but also has a certain personality and has a certain edge to him that they're super attracted to, more of like the high testosterone guy, right? That like, they just have like this crazy fondness of, they fantasize over. Well, a lot of women fantasize over the personal trainer. They fantasize over the masseuse that touches them a little bit in a certain way, and they get excited and they want to do this and they want to do that. I'm not saying all women, but that happens consistently.
And I would just want to add, this is the theory that I have to why women have a lot of men in their roster. Not all women. Just like you said, we're not talking about all women, but the women that this applies to. I'm talking to you. Okay, so you got a lot of people in your roster, right? So you got, depending on, and I just want to add real quick before I say what I want to say, it depends on the level you're at. So if you're not on this level, your roster may vary, but you have the one guy that is the nice guy that may buy you whatever you want to buy, whatever he wants to buy you, whatever you want. He's going to spend time, give you validation, give you the attention that you yearns for, the energy that you quote unquote need and stuff like that. So that's basically the nice guy. And then you have, how did I word it? Then you may have the rich man, which could be your husband in a sense. And he's pretty much the one that's funding your lifestyle. You know, the one that is paying your bills and paying your car notes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much just the guy, the rich guy, the husband, depending on who you are. And then you got Ray, Boo Boo, Tyrone, and Pookie, Billy, Todd, and Chad, aka the more dangerous guy, the risky guy, because he's the one that is just here just for a little bit of fun, a little bit of thrill, a little bit of excitement. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think that's what it is. I think that's why they got rosters, so they can fulfill every part of their needs, because most times out of 10, one guy isn't going to be able to have all these attributes. Like, you can have the money, but you may not have the swag that they want. You may be boring. You know what I'm saying? Or you may have the swag and you may have the attitude that they want. You may be able to blow their back out just like they want. Scratch that itch that they need itched. Scratch. You may be able to do that, but you don't have the money that they want. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys may not have every attribute. So that leads me to my conclusion for this talk before I let the video continue. You need to work on every aspect of your life, not just for the women, never just for the women, but the more skills that you obtain, the more skills that you master, the more valuable you will be. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a job. Pretty much, if you want to look at it, women is a full-time job. It takes effort to get there, and you just gotta put the effort in to get there. I'm just saying, look, ladies, I'm on y'all side. I'm trying to get y'all right too. I'm trying to get y'all right. What? You got women or something, you know what I'm saying?
Got to a certain point where I was really just asking so many questions about their relationships. They would open up. They would say a lot. They'd say, "Oh, well,
my allergies.
It doesn't last very long. Like it's kind of boring. Like I've never orgasmed in my sex life at all. Like they would just like throw this shit out there, and they would bash the guy so much. And in my head, I'm like, but he's a millionaire. Like, bro, when I tell you, Wellesley, Massachusetts, billionaires out there, right? There are. I remember when I was waiting tables, because I did a little bit of serving at the country club, the Wellesley Country Club. The CEO of Bank of America was there. I'll never forget that. I didn't even know who he was. I served him, right? And these are the types of guys that live there. Like all the NBA players live there, everything, right? And all of their wives, I'm not saying his wife, or I'm not saying any NBA player's wife, but like a lot of these rich guys' wives would go to these trainers and they would flirt with them and they would do things with them. And it always puzzled me because I'm like, you have something safe at home. Why are you coming here and taking the risk with somebody?
Safe, my brother in Christ.
Right? But then obviously, you know, they have probably half of whatever the guy has, and they feel like they can do whatever they want. And it was just crazy to experience this stuff. And they would always talk about how like he doesn't necessarily listen to me, he doesn't pay enough attention to me. I always feel like I'm alone. I'm with the kids. Like I just like want to have some fun, right? And it's tough to hear this as a man because you're like, man, what if this shit happens to me? Which
you hear the words that are being said. It's right in your face. I want to have fun. He doesn't really listen to me. I ain't gonna lie. This is one thing that they be saying. And I understand, like, you out here grinding. You don't have time for that sometimes. Like, sometimes you really just don't feel like you have time for it. You know what I'm saying? You out here working 60 plus hours. You getting it in. You grinding. You think that that's enough, which it should be. But the way it works, I don't know. It's always been weird. Like, if you read, because I read books, and I be hearing the same shit in the books. And it be like hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, and it's the same shit no matter what. The same situations. And you be like, damn, history really just repeats itself. We just living, what Solomon I said, we're living in the Matrix. We're living in the Matrix. Is that real? Like, I swear to you, I'm kidding you not.
And it can happen to anybody. It can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody. It doesn't fucking matter. The reality is, it is a possibility, right? But what I've also noticed is, it's a possibility that can be reduced if you're a man who can basically do more, right? And again, this is going to piss off a lot of guys. They're like, why do I have to do more? I just don't want to date women at all. Go ahead. Don't do that, right? That's your prerogative.
He said, leave them for me.
As a masculine man, I take that as a challenge. Like, how can I be somebody who's also fun, cool to talk to, like can actually give the woman a good experience while also getting the money as well, right? It's good to have both. But a lot of these guys will be so focused on their careers, which again, respect to them because that's super important. But the woman will be on the side just fucking around, right? Idle's mind is the devil's playground is what I learned.
I like what he said though. Cause he talking about, yeah, I just want to challenge myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to be all of it. I ain't gonna lie. That takes, see, that's where the skill gap comes in. That's where the different player builds come in because you can have it all. You can have anything that you could desire in this world, but you got to work for it. And that's where I'm saying some people just get one thing and get complacent. And then you got some that master 3 skills or master 3 things in this scenario. And they say, you know what? I got 3. I got the money. I got everything else I need. I think I'm good. And then you got some men just like him. If he's really about what he say he about, then he's going for all of it. And that's how I would say I would want to be. I want to go for all of it. And that's what I want us to be, actually. I'm not even going to just put me in there. I want us to be as good as we possibly can be. reach our full potential. And now, if you get 90% of the way there and you feel like you don't need no more, then that's fine. If you think 75% is good enough, but I advise you to at least go to your 100%. Whatever your 100% is, it's not the same as mine. Mine is not the same as yours. You know what I'm saying? But why not be as good as you can be? If you think that you can get even better, then why not challenge yourself and get better? It just takes a little time. It just takes a little effort. If you can get up and go do what you're doing every day, why not do something that could benefit you in the long run? You may not see the changes tomorrow, but if you wait a few days down the road, let the sun come back around a few more times, then you might get there. I'm looking like that. I'm like that with the words. I ain't gonna lie. About to talk about our pants.
Because as they're doing these exercises, they're pointing their butt out a certain way. They want to do more squats. All of a sudden, they want you to get right behind them. They want you to do all these different things. And I just realized, man, I'm like, if you're a dude and you let your woman like go be with like a male trainer or like a male masseuse or any of these different services, you're kind of cooked at the end of the day, especially if you're a grinder. If you're somebody who's really working hard in building and you're not at home very often, the likelihood of something happening is a lot higher. And I didn't realize this until I went through that process. And once I started to understand, like, it's not about the money. It's not. It's about the fun. It's about the thrill. It's about the emotional roller coaster. A lot of these guys, when I would meet them, when they would come and sit down at, like, you know, we would do halfway point reviews and stuff like that, and like they'd want to renew and everything, they would be so excited that I'm working with them. They're like, man, you're doing so great. She looks so amazing, etc., right? And it's like they just didn't understand what was going on behind the scenes. It like could not even be possible in their mind that their wife would be flirting with a 19-year-old personal trainer. Like, what? Like, I have the money. Of course she's attracted to me. It's like, no. And by the way, a lot of these guys were fat. Out of shape. I was like, man, I'll train both of you guys. I jokingly say this in the consultations. I'll be like, man, I can train both of you guys. Actually, that'd be dope. And of course, the woman would be like, no. It's just for me. You can have that. I'm good. Now, what's crazy is the woman would want to get in better shape. The man would not. As she got in better shape, she would start to look in different directions, right? I would see the same woman looking at other trainers as well, not just me. I'm not saying that I'm like this Casanova or nothing like that. It was just the idea of being with somebody who was in shape, somebody who was young, somebody who looked adventurous, somebody who looked like they were just living life just on the edge. Like that's what they were looking for. You know, and so it got to a certain point where I just realized it's not all that it seems to be. Like, chasing money is great to be able to chase a fulfilled life when it comes to like your finances, to make sure that you're not stressed all the time. But it gets to a certain point where all of your life as a man has to be balanced, right? And it's like, you can have the greatest woman in the world, but if you neglect her completely, she's going to go awry. She's going to start doing other shit because they need attention. All of them do.
That's true.
It's normal for them to want attention.
Very true.
But it was just crazier to see these rich women who had the money, who wanted people who didn't have the money. All the trainers around me also were kind of similar to me financially. Like, we weren't balling. Probably making around $50K a year, $40K a year, doing the training stuff at the gym. You know how the gym works. Like, you get paid probably 20%, if best, of what they're paying you per session, right? The going rate for those gyms that I was working at, the Equinox one in San Francisco, was $200 a session, right? Crazy, $200 a session.
I'm gonna skip a little bit.
And I would feel so bad for these guys because maybe they knew, maybe they didn't know. Maybe they just didn't give a fuck, honestly. Because I've also come across a lot of guys who are well off that don't give a fuck what their woman does because they're also doing some shit on the side and they're really just there to build the family, build a legacy, and just do whatever, right?
That's one thing I was gonna say. Like, some men just don't get. I mean, once you get to a certain status, you know how easy it is to just go and just get a little something on the slide. Just slide in that little shit. It's so easy to just slide in that little shit once you get some money. Because, like I said, just because just because you get all these attributes doesn't mean that you necessarily have to use them. You just need to use the ones that equal up, getting the easiest way, the easiest cheat code it is. So if you go get the money, it don't matter how you look. You can always have the play. Now, obviously, if you are boring or you ain't got the other stuff to offer, it may not last that long. It might end with being more of a transactional thing with the partner that you attract. If you understand what I'm saying. But that's just how you want to look at it, I guess. Like, I would want to have a woman that is attracted to me, loves what I do, but I always keep her aroused, always keep her entertained. I can always keep her around because I know what to do. I know how to treat her, and I know how to keep her excited. That's the way I would want to look at it. And then, because either way, because if you could do that, I feel like that's more rewarding down the line. I mean, that's just how I would look at it, though. I want to keep her all and all through, you know what I'm saying? Because, shit, you keep a woman keep talking about you like you a new piece of meat on the block for 20 plus years. Shit, ain't none of the energy change. It just keep growing. That's when you know. And you got the money and everything to go along with it. And all that. And she trusts and love you. I ain't gonna lie. You done won 1 million trophies already. Plus that along with it. Boy, what? Your respect and everything else is going through the roof. Boy, you is glistening in gold. Nigga, you shit gold. What? Boy, what is you talking about? Boy, you is the king for real. And that's gonna be me. And then hopefully I can master this through and through and then teach you. And then it'll be all of us. We'll be standing on top together, you know what I'm saying?
This will typically happen.
I'm gonna master it, and then I'm gonna show it.
It's so interesting.
I ain't gonna keep it.
To understand how these women think and how they view their
I ain't gonna be selfish with
they
that.
don't give a fuck about their relationship and how they see their relationship as almost a crutch to their life versus like something that is actually a benefit for them. I mean, they're benefiting with the money. They're benefiting with the guy who's ambitious, right? But they want the other things. They want the intangible thing or the tangible things that aren't necessarily as important as the money. And as I started to learn this, even when I was at Equinox, it was the same exact pattern, the same exact scenario. These rich women would come around. They would talk. They would over talk about their conversations with their husbands and their issues in the bedroom, their issues with his physical appearance, their issues with his over dedication to work. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, how ungrateful could you be? Like, this guy that you're married to, this multi-millionaire, is out here doing everything possible to keep your life beautiful.
Right.
But you go to this personal trainer who possibly would financially ruin your life.
Yeah.
To get something, the 10% that you don't have. So it was an interesting dynamic where I realized that a lot of men think that, like, okay, I can give 90%, and even if I don't have the 10%, it's fine. But they don't tend to realize the 10% that they ignore is the 90% that the woman wants. It goes both ways with relationships that I've noticed. When I've trained these women, I finally realized this. I was like, a lot of men think like I'm giving 90% of what I think she wants. And I don't have that 10%. In the woman's mind, he's giving nothing because there's the 10% that she wants is the 90% that he gives. And the 90% that she wants is only actually 0% of what he gives. So there's like a misalignment in what's being given on both sides, right? That's why men cheat, because they look for that 10% that they don't have in the household. That's why women cheat, because they look for that 10% that they don't have that means more to them than the 90% that they're getting. So it was a very interesting dynamic. And
I understand what he's trying to say. He's saying it from a connection standpoint. Like, you can give these values and stuff like that. You can put a roof over their head and give them everything they want, a full-fledged lifestyle. But if it's not really what they really want and desire from you, then they're still not going to feel grateful about it. Like, they'll be like, oh, I love you. And they could actually love and appreciate what you do for them, but it's not what they really want. So in that case, if you want to look at it like that, then it's just, you can't bring somebody that doesn't belong with you. So that means pretty much it's kind of like you just brought somebody up, but they really can't get used to that lifestyle. So you just gotta leave them in the dust. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I got from that. So, I mean, I understand what he's trying to say, though. I understand.
Luckily for me, man, like, I believe in karma, so I never, ever, ever shit where I eat, bro. Like, never. And I would just come away with so much more wisdom and so much more understanding of, like, women who actually are in marriages with successful men, like how they truly think, how money is not everything. It is something. It is something that's very important. I'm not sitting here saying that you should not go get money and you should just get jacked and be broke and live whatever. Do both. Because you can do both. And that's what I would always look at their husbands, and I'm like, bro, you could go to the gym. You're not traveling every single day.
Nigga said be 6'8" the grade.
In that hotel, you can go train. You can take care of yourself. You don't have to look the way that you look. But they don't care because they're like, money. Most of these guys were money hungry. To get to that level to where, like, these guys were making multi-million, they had, like, multi-millions of dollars in money that was coming into them every single year. They had these billion-dollar corporations, but they didn't give a fuck about their health because they just cared about the money. And I would see the relationship just, like, drift.
To be fair, if you got $1 billion in the bank, who cares about you? Boy, what? I'm getting this cheese, nigga. I'm getting this cheddar. The hell you talking about? I ain't about to lift no weights. Like, I can kind of see what they mean. You already won, no matter what. Boy, what? I ain't gotta do shit. I can just sit on my ass and just do this, and I'm gonna be good for the rest of my life. I can pass this on to my kids and they kids, and the kids. It's generational It's generational wealth. I can kind of see where they're coming from. But see, me though, I wouldn't want to do that. I want to make sure I keep the guns, keep this meat game popping on some shit. But you know.
And I would see the upcoming problems that would come in. A lot of these guys end up getting divorces because they would come back into the gym a year or two later and be like, yeah, things didn't work out, man. Like, everything went bad. And they would literally just, like, go to the gym and start to train because they realized, damn, I need to get in shape. I didn't take care of my body and stuff like that. They would talk about the sex life that they had. They would say how it was piss poor. And it just taught me so much, man. But, like, I wanted to tell you guys this because I know a lot of us are here. Activate her imagination whenever you need to. You can be around. You have the freedom, right? A lot of these corporate guys are stuck. Golden handcuffs, right? Golden handcuffs. I remember my uncle. My uncle's probably the most successful person in my family. And he left his corporate job that was paying him multiple six figures a year to go build his own business because he wanted the freedom that came with that business. He was chasing freedom at that point. He was like, man, I got golden handcuffs. He told me, Martell, if he's the one that actually pushed me to go to Babson College, because I didn't want to go there. He's like, Martell, if you can do anything, be an entrepreneur, own your life. Yes, it will be a sacrifice in the beginning, but own your time. Because when you go into these corporations and you start working in these corporations, you will never have time for yourself. You'll never have time for your family. The job will be your entire life, and you will literally feel like a slave, and that paycheck won't mean anything. And that's what I saw with a lot of these guys that these rich women would be marrying, right? These rich guys that these women will be marrying. Let's keep it real, right? Because that's where they got the source of money. But it was just crazy to experience this stuff and, like, really, really see the dark mind of how women work when their man is not there. And it just taught me, man, it's just like, one, never ever say okay if your woman wants to hire a male trainer. You should be in the best shape of your life to where you're giving her nutritional advice, you're giving her training advice. You should be the go-to for that. She wants to get a masseuse, you learn how to give good massages so she doesn't need that shit.
Work on your skills, hone your skills, and stuff like that. I'm talking to the men right now. I'm talking to the guys, but but I also want to say something to the ladies too. ladies, your theme is I feel like you need to learn to be more grateful and be more understanding. Like, I understand this is not about all women, by the way, but still, some of you can be a little harsh on how you handle stuff based off of how somebody does something. Like, if somebody's working hard, you got to understand from a man's standpoint, just like you want men to understand you, you need to understand the man. And you got to understand, we typically don't think the way you think about stuff. We don't have to have attention 24/7. We can go work and be in solitude and go work by ourselves. Sometimes we want to be by ourselves and go work and have peace, but still come home to you and do whatever we got to do to make sure that the family is happy or make sure that person is happy. You know what I'm saying? Provide. It's in most men's DNA. Just like you have your clicks and your quirks, what makes you tick and stuff like that, we have that as well. We have different stuff. So if you want us to understand you, you got to understand us. So you got to put that work in both ways. Look, it's sad that 20-year-olds is getting on here telling you how you should be working, how you should be doing shit, but it's happening. It's happening with me. With a smile. With a good smile. Okay. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video off here. Like, share, subscribe if you new. Hit the bell for the notification. Social media is on the screen and in the links in the description. Check out the channel called Rage and Fredo. And check out my social medias. They down below. Anyways, 2 videos on the screen. See ya next video.